Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
It's you.
It bears repeating.
And it does.
Another RuPaul's Drag Race recap show. I'm Tom.
And I'm Tiffany.
And that's what we do. We recap the shows.
We're here.
We're doing the damn thing. Happy Lent is over. We just got a text from Nick saying that he was finally eating brownies from the party I hosted for the All Stars 3 finale.
Yes.
So props to him for having string.
Yeah.
Because I have made 2 batches of brownies since that have not even made it to, like 2 days after I made them. My brownies are good, bitch.
They are very good.
I just have to say that.
They're delicious.
I also need to apologize for my behavior at the tail end of the podcast last week. My opinion does not reflect opinions for both me and Tiffany on this show, just my own.
I think I've made that clear.
Only if they're on Twitter.
I mean,
not everyone's on Twitter.
in case you missed it. I did a really shitty lip sync too.
And Zoe did a lip sync.
She did, which was adorable.
I'm Team Zoe.
Oh, don't do that. The team of the Stray Girls. Don't do that.
No, I just mean Zoe and I are on the same team.
Yes.
So I'm gonna...
And that's fair.
Not that I prefer her lip sync over your lip sync.
You just like her better, but...
You know what? Tiffany's fired.
I guess your podcast is with me no matter what, because she doesn't live in the city. Though I guess you know how to Skype people in now, so you could just replace me.
I've always known how to Skype people in.
Whatever.
Anyway, like, if you really wanted to, you could Skype
My
in.
Easter wish is that you get a new attitude. Does that work?
I got a new attitude.
Please.
This one's a mess. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. We're off to a good start.
Okay. How was your week, Tiffany?
It was awful. How was your week?
It was long. It just felt really long.
It was just miserable. It was not great. Did you have more interviews this week? I meant to ask you.
I didn't have any.
Oh, that's fine.
But I have an interview at the Apple Store.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I was thinking
coming
of.
up. And then my staffing agent said that she found 2 matches and she's going to try to set up interviews with those
Okay,
people.
maybe that's what... I didn't want to be a shitty person and not remember.
Oh, no, it's totally fine.
Things that are happening
I would
in
have
life.
told you how it would have went.
Cool.
Since last week, we received a couple emails. Haley, I hear your cry. I need to put them on YouTube.
I did see that, yes.
Yeah, putting them on YouTube is just a bitch. They're going to go up way later than the actual episode will go up on our RSSI feed.
Because it's just easier. Everything updates from the RSS, right?
Yeah, that just... The thing is, so for YouTube, it has to have an image to be considered a video because you can't just upload audio. So when you put an image on something that's like between an hour and a half and 2 hours long, that's 20 gigs of video because of the photo. So what I'm doing is making this 2 hour long thing, exporting it, and it takes forever because it's a big file. Then I'm uploading it, which takes forever because it's a big file. And then I delete it because I can't have something taking up
20 gigs.
Right. Because it's not technically my computer that we're on. The audio file is less than 200 megabytes or whatever. So it's just a different ballgame. So it's going to always go up later just because it's annoying. There are aggregators that will do it for you, but of course they cost money.
Mm-hmm. Of course they do.
So fuck that. Sorry, but I'm making it happen for you. It's just going to take a minute. Because from iMovie, you can upload directly from iMovie and it doesn't save a file. So I've been just doing it that way. I'm going to do it that way. Sorry, I've been drinking the sparkling ice water. This sparkling ice.
I hope it was worth it. Because now you got bubble guts.
Give it to me, I burped it.
Oh my God. Tom's ready, you guys. He's got a lot.
I had 2 things.
Is it the sugar?
I had 2 things of coffee this morning. So,
like and the caffeine.
Like the other day. Like the other day when I was like, I'm going to chant Miss Vanjie till I go to sleep, and then it just got really messy. That's about where I met my day. So.
Perfect. I'm so excited.
And then we got an email from Fabrice. Anyway, thank you for your email. It was very kind. We appreciated it. Thank you for listening and loving us, and we love you.
Yes, thank you so much.
And then, in tradition, we're going to read some reviews. So this time, Tiffany's going to read one, and I'm going to read one. Who wants to go first? It doesn't matter to me.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this one becomes from For Real Stacy in Canada.
All right, Stacy.
All right, Stacy. Great rapport between Tiffany and Tom. Their passion mirrors my own, and listening feels like having a conversation with friends. Can't wait to watch this podcast continue to grow. Smiley emoji.
All right, Stacy. That's so nice.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Who do you have a review from?
Sam Abdullah, which I probably said your last name right, but in case if I didn't, I'm sorry. We know Sam.
Yeah.
He's on our Facebook page.
He's from the UK. We're international, guys. I love it.
International fish.
Canada, Canada, and the UK. These
Okay,
two.
Canada. So, Sam says, Yas Queens, this podcast is brilliant, so fun, so much energy, and just like sitting at home with my good Judies and queening out. Thank you so much. That's so nice.
Yes, thank you for the reviews.
I love that.
If you haven't already, please rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcasts.
We appreciate it.
Sure do.
It helps us find
Grow.
new listeners.
Helps us.
And
but nothing will help your podcast if you listenership grow as having Trixie Mattel.
yeah,
they shot up straight to the top of the chart.
I mean, and they deserve it.
Yeah, if like we said last week, if you haven't listened to the interview with Trixie Mattel on All Right Mary,
someday I'm gonna get over it, but
yeah,
not anytime soon.
Tiffany texts me and she's just like, I'm still thinking about it.
I'm honestly still processing it. Also, this week I should mention this. It wasn't all trash. Me and Vanessa got meet and greet tickets for Trixie.
For Pittsburgh?
Yeah, for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So literally, this is how extra I was. The tickets went on sale with the Buffalo show at a different time than all the other tickets were made available.
Okay.
So I kept checking and I was like, I don't understand why they're not on sale yet. Everything else is on sale. So I messaged the venue and I was like, hey, when is this going to happen? And they were like, we think it's going to be this day or this day next week. So I was like, okay, great. So then I saw when they made the announcement that there was going to be a pre-sale. And I was like, okay, well, I have to do the pre-sale. Have to. So it didn't say how to get a code.
Okay.
I was like, what the fuck? How do you get the pre-sale code? So I messaged them again. And I was like, listen.
Of course you did.
I was like, can you tell me how to get the pre-sale code? I want to make sure that I'm prepared for next Thursday. And they said, well, actually, the pre-sale code is Trixie. Don't put this on blast, though, because I don't think we've announced it yet. They were, kind of cagey about it.
Okay.
They gave it to me, before they emailed it, essentially. Because I was like, obviously, I'm being persistent because I'm trying to get meet and greet tickets. I'm
Did
sorry
you just reply to the last email you had
Yeah.
sent them? Okay.
Because I Facebook messaged them.
Oh, okay.
But
So
they were
could
so
see-
helpful, and I literally bought the first and second ticket.
Boom.
Seat 1, seat 2. And I'm really ready. It doesn't feel very real yet because that's going to be in May. And that's a far time away.
It's really not.
I know, but
it's almost April.
it's very abstract to me. And I'm going to get super nervous. Even though I know it doesn't matter and it's not a big deal. And that's just a human being. It's going to be it's going to be very exciting and I'm going to be very nervous.
You're gonna be fine.
I know, but it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything's been very Trixie-centric for me the last couple of months. So it's going to be weird to, see her in person and then be like, hi, human being. How are you? I think I'm going to have Josh make me an It Bears Repeating t-shirt.
Ooh. Do
It
we
can't
get
hurt,
one?
right?
Do I get one?
I mean, if you want one. If you would like one. I mean, I was going to, wait and see. He's going to design it and stuff because I don't know what I'm doing. But he does, and he has a lot of resources so he can better understand, what he can print or not print. Because, dear listeners, just throwing this out there, my man does things. And his print shop is 41 Prints. And he does things, makes t-shirts, screen prints, vinyl cutting, whatever. So, I was going to leave it up to him to sort of, with the materials he has, make something.
I'll link his info. Should I link something in our description for the listeners?
Yeah, they at least have a Facebook page and they make buttons and stuff too, and they're shipping things. So
for your printing needs.
Yeah, he's gonna hook us up and do something. So I'll definitely keep y'all posted.
Oh, okay.
At that juncture, but
here's the tea. Way too early. Maybe not even gonna happen. It Bears Repeating merch.
It Bears Repeating merch. If anybody gives a shit. Maybe.
Also, it's day of recording, but it won't be the day when this is released. But happy birthday, Kristen. I know you don't listen, but you're my best friend, and I gotta do shit like this.
Happy birthday, Kristen.
Happy birthday, Kristen.
We love you.
Love you. Ugh.
Sorry,
Okay.
that was like a tangent.
Well, that was a lot. But, we're doing better than we have in tangents past.
I think we're getting more concise.
Yeah, we're getting better at this.
Which I appreciate.
So that being said, are you ready to get into episode 2 of
All Stars.
RuPaul's Drag Race season 10?
Hello.
I'm on All Stars 4, guys. I'm on All Stars.
No. Nope. I'm not ready to even think about it.
Guys, I already know that I'm going to say things that no one agrees with on this episode. So just, bear with me.
Literally. Please bear.
Please bear. I won't repeat, but please just
bear
with
us.
me. So this is the episode 2, Pharmarusical, which is literally the weirdest.
I was in Susical, the musical, which is also like a weird cadence thing. So Rusical doesn't fuck me up. Pharmarusical is very weird. But
yeah, the Rusical is not what I have issue with.
The Pharma.
I don't think I've ever. We'll talk about what it was when we get there. Okay. So after Vanjie's elimination, everyone loved Miss Vanjie, and they all had Miss Vanjie stuck in their head like the rest of the world did. And Eureka's talking head is talking about how everyone's saying it, including Michelle and Rue. And Rue on the runway says, "I didn't get the name. What was it?" And Michelle's like, Miss Vanjie, Miss Vanjie. And my favorite part is when Rue is like, "You better stop." And Christina turns her head. It's so good. Vanjie, you're in our hearts forever. Clearly.
I think you're clearly in everyone's hearts. There's a JPEG of all the times RuPaul has tweeted about Miss Vanjie over the last
week,
48 hours, maybe.
Jesus.
Even. There's been a large concentration. Why are you so obsessed with me?
So a lot actually happens in this little segment. Monet still thinks she should have been in the top because of her smudge
Which is
dress.
amazing.
And Asia reacts appropriately. She's like, "You dumb bitch. You're lucky you were safe," is essentially what everyone else
Yeah, this was a good way to kick off the episode.
Yeah. And then Calorie brings up that there was words said about Aquaria about Cracker during Untucked while she wasn't in there.
I enjoy that people are still like, but you said it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, just putting it out there. I mean, I think obviously they're stirring the pot a little bit, but
that was 100% a producer in Calorie's
I
ear.
also like the accountability though, because you did say it, and it shouldn't go away. So that's what happens in the real world.
So Aquaria is trying to backtrack and downplay what she actually said. She's like, "I'm just saying this yellow dress, blah, blah, blah." And Vixen's like, no.
You said what you said, and you were mad.
And then Cracker's like, "I don't even know what anyone's talking." The best part is Miss Cracker is like, "I've been minding my own damn business." She was like, "I learned some makeup skills at a photo shoot from Aquaria, but beyond that, I'm trying to do my own thing." Literally was what she said. And then it's getting loud, and Aquaria leaves the group, and then everyone's doing weird stuff they're mopping the floor with Monet's dress. And the Vixen holds up a piece of paper. It says, "The Vixen will fight you." That was so extra.
It was a lot.
That paper was so extra.
And then the engine's revving because it goes into the opening of the show.
Yeah.
It was okay, girl.
It was a lot. Do you have anything else that happened in that segment that you needed?
No, clearly there are characters that are here to play. Just the social media aspect of the show, and they're ready to be literal, they're creating characters.
So I guess this is as good a time as any. It's I think I like the Vixen, but I also don't think I like the Vixen. It's just I
have the same issue.
It's such a roller coaster because I think she's a genuinely nice person, as we'll see in Untucked. But
she's just very direct, and there's actually a lot of contrast between people being direct in this episode and the different ways to approach that.
Yeah.
Vixen has her approach, which is, I said what I said. You know what I mean? And that's it.
And you said what you said.
There's no
and
sorry.
She said
There's
what
no,
she said.
Exactly. There's no real, any type of leading people into a point. She just drops it on you like an anvil, and that moves on and then continues. So it is what it is, and I appreciate that. On one hand, it's okay, I like that authenticity because you're not here for the bullshit or backtracking. At the same time, it's a little exhausting.
Right.
And
I'm curious what her reaction has been, because I don't look at I basically, my association with these people is the Facebook group. So I just kind of see what everyone says on there to get a feel. But I don't know how the Vixen's being, like, accepted widespread, like, outside of our group. So I don't know what Reddit or anyone else is saying about
I don't know.
them.
I've stayed away from Reddit.
Because I feel like at some point, Vixen's going to get a lot of hate for something. Just because
she's going to cross the line, probably.
Yeah.
Or it could go that way.
Right.
I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I think right now, she's done well with staying in a lane of sorts. Maybe getting close to the edge. But right now, she's sort of neutral-ish. If she pushes it too hard one way or the other, I could see it.
Yeah. I'm concerned.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm just concerned because we know the fans of RuPaul's Drag Race and how they'll react. Specifically to a black queen saying her piece.
And that's why I don't want to... I'm not trying to, like, come at someone one way or the other. Really? Like,
right.
Unless if it's, like, a clear-cut case of, like, you're trying to be a bitch.
Right.
Because I'm not afraid to say that.
No, because so far it's just the Vixen's like, no, let's just say what we said.
Right.
Because honestly, this accusation is, to me, is not that big of a deal. Because as we discussed last week, makeup is makeup and trends are trends and things happen. So
nothing is unique.
As Ben de la Creme and Milk and Shangela all discussed in their mirror moment in All Stars 3, like, no one's creating anything new. We're recycling old things. So, I think
that's just what it is.
Yeah. So then it's a new day in the workroom, and Calorie and Eureka have this belly bump song thing that they do, and every time it starts, I'm like, big girl walking down the street.
I forgot about that.
I don't even know the words. All I could think of was, are they saying Darian's rap? But it's not.
No, it's not.
But I was like, wouldn't that be funny? Because Darian's a big girl. Wouldn't that be, like, cute?
It would be cute.
It'd be a cute, like, throwback.
But now it doesn't matter.
And now I'm gonna do a dramatic reading of a talking head that happens.
Oh, shh. Everybody listen.
I was safe in the first elimination. Going forward, I need to do something to stand out because RuPaul doesn't see the star in me. That means I'm not showing him my star. Does that make sense? Aquaria.
Her talking heads. It's, on one hand, she's very funny because she lands like a joke.
Star thing.
She throws it in. So, like, she's like, and your performance has to be bi-curious or whatever she says. So, like, you're funny, but also you're irritating me.
And the last episode, she told you like, use caution with the caution tape design, and it was just like, bitch. So
raised by RuPaul puns.
I cannot even tell you how hard I laughed at that talking head because I was like, she sounds like so stupid.
A little bit. A little.
Because the way she's saying it, she's like, I need to show RuPaul my star, so I'm gonna show RuPaul my star. I'm like, we didn't quite find the right word, did we?
Wasn't she the one who said, I'm not, drag doesn't define me, I define drag, or whatever?
That sure is Aquaria. And I didn't think I was going to like Aquaria, but I'm not sure I like her for the right reasons, but I am enjoying her.
Exactly. It would be, I think I would enjoy her more if she embraced that.
If she was just like the airhead,
a little bit,
you know, like Alyssa Edwards, like was like, I'm just the loud, weird.
Actually, this is a thing that I could do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then we get into this hoedown mini challenge. Andy Cohen comes in for no.
Who the fuck is Andy Cohen?
He created the Real Housewives franchise.
Oh, okay.
And he has a talk show called Watch What Happens Live.
Okay, so I've heard of that, and I've never watched one episode, not once. I don't know anything about it.
I don't watch it either, but there's a lot of gay people who end up on it because Andy Cohen's, like, a homosexual, and he invites homosexuals to talk about.
All right, Andy Cohen.
But there's I mean, I never watched Watch What Happens Live, but Trixie and RuPaul were on it.
Recently.
Yeah. So
I did deduce that, obviously.
And the Girls of Bitch Sesh were on it recently, but they're a Real Housewives podcast, so that makes sense.
It would make sense.
But I love them, but I didn't watch. But I love them. So, the Hoedown Challenge. It's quick drag. I hate quick drag.
I know you do.
I hate it so much. This
is a callback to the second episode of season 1, isn't it? Didn't they do like the country-esque? They did the country runway cowboy realness thing.
That was in season 2.
Was it in season 2? I'm sorry. No, because then they do an eating challenge, and Mystique Summers obviously.
That's still season 2.
Is it season 2?
Season 1 does not.
Did I say season 1?
You did.
Okay, no, yeah, you're right. Season 2. Sorry.
I just was making sure.
I guess it's a self-referential thing.
I don't know.
Continuing, maybe?
They
Loosely?
Maybe. I don't know. They didn't say anything about making reference to an old season.
I was just curious. So, not that I can even reference old seasons correctly.
Although these girls getting into quick drag was not as creepy to me as
they had
like
20 minutes.
Right, they didn't have 15 was what they got.
Or like 5 minutes.
I don't know.
Whatever.
So I'm just gonna highlight who I thought was good, and then highlight some things I noticed. So I don't know what you have written down. But
it's very loose just because this challenge didn't do anything for me.
Well, it was very fast, and it was clearly subjective because the people who won, I was like, that was a choice.
Was it?
Yeah. So Vixen's quick drag wasn't country at all to me.
She had like twine around her neck,
and she put a tutu over her shoulder instead of like where the like.
What the fuck?
Sorry, you guys can hear that. I guess my neighbors are doing some housework.
Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm. It's like a weed whacker.
Oh, it's like coming through the mic into my headphones.
Yeah, that's
so I was so confused. I was like, is this how it ends? Is there someone with a chainsaw?
Oh my god, that'd be terrifying.
Literally where my mind just went.
But also her dancing wasn't super country to me.
So she was, okay, Josh did correct me because at first I was like, I don't understand. And he was like, I'm pretty sure she's crumping. Which is like a southern dance way of dancing. And I am familiar with it. I just didn't clock it as such.
Isn't crumping like the fighting dance?
Not really. It's like a more fast-paced, very staccato movement.
Hi, I'm Tom and I'm white. Can you
You're
tell?
Fine. You're fine. I don't know how I even know it's a thing. Probably MTV, to be honest. Not to be that type of way, but truly, like.
And this is like a theme for the whole episode. I think Yuha is kind of underappreciated here. She milked her tits, and then she drank it out of the hat. And I thought that was really clever.
She was funny.
And not that this matters to anyone, but Kameron looks like my friend Paulette in Quick Drag. And
hello, Paulette.
She doesn't listen to this.
She jumped, and all I could watch were her legs, like, come up close to her ears. She is very
flexible.
She's athletic in a way I wouldn't have clocked her to be athletic in.
And my favorite was Aquarius sitting on the horse.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I like that one a lot. Do you have anyone else that you would like to mention?
I really liked Eureka's because it read very country to me.
Yeah,
Not all of them did. And then I would say Miss Cracker was probably my favorite just because she was very like tots and tiaras. Also, she's John Brene Ramsey, so go ahead.
Well, no. Here's the tea.
Do it that way.
You like Miss Cracker because her aesthetic is similar to Trixie Mattel's. Big hair, pastel colors on the body. That is like her thing.
She doesn't just do that.
No,
but in this case, probably. It is admittedly country though. That's a very Dolly.
No, it is.
You know what I mean? Like lane that she was riding in. Plus, she looked really good. For quick drag, I think.
Yeah, no, she looked just like she did in regular drag.
She focused. It's so funny because obviously the rest of her face wasn't painted totally, but she was like, God damn, do I need to contour my nose, though?
She sure did.
I know I need to contour my nose.
So the winners are Asia and Vixen, and they win the opportunity to pick their teams for the main stage, the main challenge, the maxi challenge. That's what we call it on this show.
Sure.
So I thought this selection of people... The order in which they were selected was kind of bizarre. Why was Mayhem second to last to get picked?
I have no idea, but that's stupid.
Because she was literally the winner last week. And I was like, you really think she's going to blow it on the second challenge?
Maybe they know something that we don't. However, it doesn't seem like
But we saw her with all of the old contestants on the show whenever she was doing the voguing on the app.
Oh, that is true.
She moved really well.
That is weird.
It's weird. And I don't know. She's been around forever. So the assumption would be that
you would pick her.
Lip sync, yeah.
Maybe some of the girls haven't made a personal connection with her.
I don't
know. Because that did seem to factor in, like, personal preferences.
Well, Vixen talks about how she selected hers in Untouched.
She does, so we'll get there. Anyway.
So I was very surprised that Kameron was picked early, only because I feel like she's been ignored.
She's very reserved.
Yeah. So, because it's an odd number of people, Eureka's last, and RuPaul lets her select her group, and she goes to Team Asia because her big girl Calorie's on it. And I'm actually very surprised that those two, like, hit it off because they were big girls. I would think that you're kind of each other's biggest competition, only because you're both like body positivity. That's kind of your stance. It's like, you know, the first lady. You have your you have your thing that you're selling as a drag queen, and they're both selling like big girl body positivity, wearing things that people wouldn't expect them to wear, but anyway, they are good Judies.
I'm nodding.
So the rest of this episode was really hard for me to kind of keep a structure for, so I'm just gonna...
Yeah, there's just a lot.
So they're given their songs, and the Vixen's sitting down with her group, and they're all like saying things they'd like to be, and the Vixen's like, well, I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do because I trust my judgment.
Which isn't, again, a bad thing to say. It's
a smart thing to do.
It's a smart thing to do. However, the package in which you deliver that information, she was just sort of like, well, and it's like, girl, you can just, okay.
Yeah, so you could just be like, hey guys, I'm going to just pick them based on what I know about you already, because I think I'm going to be able to match our strong suits. That could be a way to phrase that.
That could be.
Yeah.
No, just a thought.
So Asia's team quickly starts working on choreography, and Asia and Eureka get snippy with each other very quickly.
So,
do you feel like Asia was being a bit much?
Yeah. I think that she was already preparing herself for something that didn't necessarily happen out of the gate. So as soon as Eureka opened her mouth, she was like,
Yeah, that's how it felt, because I remember whenever they did their first group challenge last year, and she was in Trinity's group. Trinity, like, they like had issues right away, but they had a history, so it makes a little bit more sense. And I think Asia was like, oh, she was so rude to Trinity last year, she's gonna do the same to me. Whereas I feel like the first thing Eureka said, she was like, are you gonna pick after we like read it all the way through, or are you gonna
She was just asking questions, is how I was taking
That's how I was taking it too.
Okay, and I felt maybe people were just like anticipating her being more of an issue than she really was. I also want to say this was when I first noticed that Asia was like being a little defensive.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's probably because she just cared a lot about doing well. Mm-hmm. But you see it carry into throughout this episode and into Untucked.
Yeah, you sure do.
She just sort of has this like, she's like a little aggressive and she's frustrated and she's annoyed. And I get why as the episode unfolds, but at the same time, it's like a little prickly for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to see more of her personality soon. Maybe next episode.
Well, it has to be soon, because if they don't show us, then that's not a good idea.
It's not a good sign.
Yeah. So, like I said, Asia's team is quickly working on choreography. Well, Team Vixen picks out their clothes, and they just watch them work on choreography. I'm like, well, if you're so concerned about them working on choreography, start working on your choreography.
Block some stuff out.
I just was so confused. I'm like, okay, they're doing more. Then you do more. But I don't know. I was so confused because it was literally, and I don't know how much of editing
exactly,
but it would just be like they were working on choreography, and then literally Team Vixen was doing nothing and just watching them dance, and I was like, well,
we worked on characterization. Okay, well, apparently
we will get to that.
But it felt a little manufactured when this was like kicking up.
Yeah,
and then you could kind of see once they did get on stage. I mean, provided the editing didn't, trim it to look this way, like. The other team was a little more prepared.
Right.
But it's just like you said. Just do more then.
Just do more.
Anyway.
So Ru comes in and talks to both teams. I didn't really clock anything that happened with Team Asia. Asia?
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to bring Aja back.
You sure are.
Season 10.
Aja's ghost.
She talks to Team Asia, and I didn't really clock anything. She kind of talks to Eureka and says, like, are you
how's
okay?
your knee?
Yeah, basically.
No complaints, which I appreciated. My butthole tightened a little bit when Aquaria was like, I'm a millennial. I was born in 1996. And I was like, oh.
Well, that's funny because she's like barely a millennial.
I know.
She's like on the cusp of not even being.
You are.
Millennial.
Man, she is a baby.
Yeah. So when she is talking to Vixen, she was like, are you working on any choreography? And Vixen's just like, well, there's a choreographer. And I'm like, we've all seen this show.
Like, you know that you need to be at least a little movement.
Right. Just so you're not going in completely blind and you kind of know how your vision of this is going to work.
Putting the characterization in motion. So it makes sense to do something.
Right.
But.
So after Ru's walkthrough, we cut to Team Asia meeting Miss Alyssa Edwards in full drag.
I love Me and Josh were so happy to see our queen. Josh loves her.
I love her, too.
He was like, I was watching interviews with Alyssa yesterday because I know she was on this episode.
Has he watched Alyssa's Secret yet?
I don't know.
Oh.
I need to remind him to do that because he loves Alyssa. Like, adores her. Which I mean, obviously I do too, but I just, like, love that he's, like, developed his own taste in queens, too. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting.
So
it's so great.
Here's a fun fact about all of my notes. Anytime Alyssa was involved, I was not paying attention to the teams, and I was fully watching what Alyssa was doing.
I'm just captivated by her in general, but also she looked amazing.
Yeah.
I love the way she critiqued them.
Yeah.
She was but again, it's all the way how you frame your message, right? So she was very direct. She had a clear vision of what she wanted to see from them, but she was also coaching them in such a way that they were, like, breaking through their nerves a little bit.
Right.
Because she's so over the top.
Yeah.
She's just, like, infectious. Like, she naturally brings the room up. I just can't. And then the thing that put it over the top for me was when they did, like, her close-up shot and she was a talking head and it said Alyssa Edwards Drag Race Royalty. And I was like, yes, bitch.
Yeah.
You sure are.
So the Team Asia shows Alyssa a little bit of what they worked on, and Alyssa's response is, so glad we don't have no Charlie Hydes in this group. And I was like, oh!
Tell me. Yes.
Alyssa coming in
hard. She knows. Clearly she watches Drag Race.
And so she's giving them some choreography, and while she's counting, she's like, take it all the way to Nicki Minaj. And Alyssa's counting is so funny. She's working with Asia, and she's like, one, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and I was like, I could never.
And an 8, and an 8, and a 999. I was like, okay.
I was like, as much as I love Alyssa, I don't think she can choreograph me because I need that 8 count, bitch.
I don't think you're giving it fully to me.
No, you said 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you started scatting.
She did.
She sure did. And then I don't know what said, but at some point Alyssa's like, think you're clever, don't you?
It's calorie Kardashian.
That's what
because she was like Kardashian, and she was like, no, Kardashian, and that's when she said it. I was like, oh my god,
because and Chris and I lost our damn minds when she said. I was like, what? And this is the first of, like, many references to past seasons, and one of them's by RuPaul, and I was floored.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I wrote down, I don't think I paid any attention to what she said to the queens, as I was so entranced with Alyssa.
Her legs, when they did the wide shots, and you would see her moving or just walking across the stage.
Or whenever she's, like, coaching Blair, and you see their legs, like, kind of next to each other, you're like, oh, someone is a dancer.
Exactly.
So, they go back to Team Vixen in the workroom and talk a little bit about the Aquaria drama. Vixen said she wanted to pull Aquaria to her team, but, like, I guess didn't get the opportunity to. And Cracker literally says, I don't know about a yellow dress. And that's just it. It's like...
Literally, I don't
know how this all got into Aquaria's head, but it's living there and it's permanent. And it's something that I think Vixen's going to feed on until Aquaria goes or until Vixen goes.
Probably.
And I think at first I thought there was going to be a Cracker Aquaria lip sync, and I think it's going to be a Vixen Aquaria lip sync.
That makes more sense.
Because Cracker's literally like, I don't have any beef with Aquaria.
She's not in. I mean, she said she was going to pay closer attention to it.
Right.
However, she's not using it the way that the Vixen is using it. She's chosen a strategy and a way to play this, and, like, that's on you.
Right.
If that's the way you're going to approach this. But it's not even really your situation. You know what I mean? It's not you and someone else. It's these two other people. But again, that's a choice. But that makes a lot of sense based on what we saw this episode for sure. I wanted to say, too, I think it was Monique was on the other team, or was it this team?
She's on team. She's on the stage right now with Alyssa.
Is she? Okay.
She's the one who's like, she walks in.
She was like, yeah, okay, so
she peeks her head around
that's
the corner.
why I'm not sure. So she was like watching somebody? Maybe it was Calorie and she was struggling and she was like, myfacesaysitall.com or what? Girl, what? She is very expressive and I am here for it.
So after they talked to Miss Cracker about Aquaria, they cut back to Team Asia with Alyssa, and Alyssa's working with Yua, and she's making Yua run around like Alyssa's like go-go juice commercial, and that's all I could think of was Alyssa.
That's exactly
running around
what I thought of too.
And she's talking to, then Dusty's working on whatever the weird thing that she was working on.
Yeah, her little segment.
She was like, Alyssa says, bigger eyes, like Aubrey O'Day. I was like, what is going on? I was like,
I died.
Alyssa needs to be in every episode.
Also, Dusty just like moving that way and us focusing on her. I was like, oh my God. I can't look at you for this long in boy form with your curls going all over the place. Like, it's so goofy. I'm not knocking it. Like, it's fine. It's just also funny to me. So, speaking of...
Oh, so Alyssa starts talking to Eureka, and she's like, Eureka, what are you going to do? And Eureka's response
What are you happening?
Right,
what are you happening? What are you doing?
Yeah. And so Eureka says, I'm going to be, like, very pharmaceutical rep.
Girl, boring? Is that what that means?
Alyssa was like, well, I understand that, because the whole thing is about pharmaceutical
like your
reps.
Right. That is literally what you're doing.
And then Team Asia, like, leaves the stage, and Alyssa holds Eureka back and asks what's going on, which I thought was very cute.
It was really sweet.
Yeah.
I was wondering how they may know each other. And then Eureka said later, Alyssa doesn't even know me. So they haven't had any contact, or very little contact, at least in the real world. So it was cool that she recognized, because she has clearly watched the show.
Also,
and just wanted to reach out. That's cool.
Alyssa's played this game multiple times,
as she stated.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying,
royalty. Like, she just she carries it and does it well. She does it so well.
And so Eureka says she's just like, I'm just psyching myself out. It's like a little PTSD. So no, I've never broken a bone or had an injury where I couldn't like perform with it in whatever way that would be, you know? So I can't imagine like, because she danced really well prior to the injury. I can't imagine like not being able to do that, and then not knowing, now she doesn't know what her limitations are as far as like, how hard can I push it that's not going to like fuck me up.
Exactly. And it was literally the second episode of season 9 that she ruined her knee.
Yeah.
In the ACL business, obviously I've never had an injury like that either.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've known people that have had it, and it's, I mean, that's what ends people's careers and physical activity.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be, football, whatever, I don't know. So I felt so sad because you could really see her struggling, and obviously the rehearsal was not good.
No.
It was hard to watch her. I was just like,
yeah.
Hopefully you just pull it together, because I can't watch you right now.
So Team Vixen then joins Alyssa.
And this is when Josh is sitting next to me and he's like, I hate her so much. I hate her.
Vixen?
Yeah.
Why?
She just walks out and he's like, I hate her. I just hate her. I was like, okay.
I don't know what, I didn't write this down, but Alyssa says something to Vixen after she does her impersonation or whatever, and she, without even like giving Alyssa like a full sentence, she says, okay! Like, ooh. I just blew out the mic. Okay, so I can't go into whistle tones.
Nope, sure can't. Because she knows to not, at least she knows her limitations. Like, don't come at Alyssa some type of way.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to end well for you.
But after they all show them their characterizations that they worked on, and Alyssa the whole time is like, bigger, 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 bigger. And she keeps saying it. I'm like, well, why aren't any of you just listening?
Doing it. Yeah. Or just trying new things.
Yeah, because
don't continue to do the thing that she told you to do better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or if you're the 4th person or 5th person to go, you've already seen her critique like 4 people in front of you.
Build on it.
Yeah, just be as big and goofy as you possibly can. Because this is a goofy thing. It's not a serious number.
Obviously.
So, you know.
And that's the thing, too. I feel the way that I read it, at least, I like how I start sentences 4 different ways. But then, I don't know. Anyway, I need to talk better. So, the sense that I got was that they were all incredibly nervous already. And then they clearly didn't know Alyssa was going to be there. And then that fucked them up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it's one thing like Todrick, there's like a level of separation there. Right. Even though Todrick is a performer. However, Alyssa's been on the show. She's in drag right now. She is a dancer. She makes her ducats being a dancer. She has a dance studio.
Yeah, I love that she shouted out her studio.
Me
That was
too.
so
I
cute.
loved that. So she knows what the fuck she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's already done it better than you. Clearly. So I think it just truly shook them. But I would love if Alyssa could consult on the show more. Like if it became a regular thing for her to do like a few episodes. I would love that.
I'm very curious to see if we're going to see any other queens this season, since we are being so self-referential.
That would be amazing.
Because we have already 2 episodes. We've already seen former queens both episodes. The first episode, we had them all on the runway. Yeah. And then we had Alyssa this episode. Also, I would rather see Alyssa or Travis Wall choreograph things because I don't need Todrick.
I'm done with Todrick.
Yeah, I'm just over it.
Exactly. So then everybody is attempting to do things. And as you said, she was sort of telling them to do better. And then we got into like Blair's whole issue.
Oh.
Who clearly, speaking of nerves, literally her limbs are shaking. They are failing her. And that was rough to watch too.
My issue with this is you claim to be a Broadway queen and you can't learn choreo.
Yes.
And I was just like, because I thought of anyone, Blair would be
Same.
the one to like.
That's also in my
watch.
notes. I was just like, really? Like, obviously, it's also an issue with body confidence at that point, too. Like, to an extent, there was like no oomph on top of her being incredibly nervous. But you would think if she's practiced at learning dances, there would at least be some sort of like fluidity.
Right, because if you're into Broadway, that's singing and moving and dancing
yes.
and all of this stuff.
You do have to be able to at least dance a little.
No, like a lot.
Well, I know, but I'm like saying even if you're in the chorus
Right.
and you're in the back row, you still need
dance,
to be able to dance, right?
I just would have expected so much more from her, and I was kind of disappointed because I don't like Blair, and I was like, well, here's your time to impress me, and then Shania twained it.
Ooh,
that don't
whoops.
impress me much.
Oh, honey. So I will say that I appreciated the way that this went down in the sense that I think the Vixens team was smart because ultimately the bar was set very low for them. The expectation was for them to fail, whether that was like of their own doing or the way that it just happened or the producers heavy-handed it or I don't know. Either way, I wasn't looking for them to do a good job and I thought the other team was going to kill it going in. That was the way in my mind that I like broke it all down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they played it correctly, sort of like looking a little messy because then you ended up more surprised. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Less disappointed.
Yeah, well, it's the only thing about that wouldn't make sense is they're telling us a story, but the judges don't see them doing poorly the day before. They might
to
have,
them, it's all the same.
Yeah, they might have like production
That's
notes
a
or
good
like
point.
notes from Melissa, but at no point on the stage they're like, "Wow, you did so much better than we expected based on your rehearsal." Do you know what I mean? So like,
That's a good point.
It'd be one thing if everyone saw like from start to finish how things play out, because whenever like Rue and Michelle are like directors on something,
Right, and
then
they
in
see
the
you
panel-
totally suck
yeah.
and then you kill it.
Yeah,
I just wonder mentally like what that does to your brain though. Because I feel like sometimes when I've gone into things feeling like I was going to murder it, I've fucked it up.
well, that's
But
why
when I retained a little bit of nerves, I worked for it. I worked a little harder.
Well, that's why anytime someone's like, "This is my challenge," they
It's
go
just
home.
like, no, bitch. I'm going to do RuPaul for the Snatch Game. What would you have done for the Snatch Game in season 7 if you would have made it? RuPaul. Like, girl.
So they cut back to Team Asia in the workroom working on whatever, sitting around a table.
And that's when Eureka cries.
Yeah, Eureka cries and she like literally tells Yuha, "I know why I was picked last now." And that's just like devastating.
That's such a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
I can't even handle it.
And then her whole team reassures her, which is very cute.
And then Asia has that talking head
Where
at this
she's-
moment where she's just like, we've got enough going on. And now on top of this, it's like, well, Eureka doesn't want to feel this way.
No.
This isn't a choice that she's making. It's not a choice for her to not be doing well and to be afraid to dance.
Yeah.
It's just happening. Sorry?
Yeah, and then that kind of further proves the point. They talk in Untucked. Team Vixen's like, well, we were working as a team while they were working as individuals who were like doing the same dance. And like that's clearly what it is, because if you're working as a team, Asia should understand she's only as strong as her weakest link.
Right.
And so if your weakest link is Eureka, work with Eureka, help her break through. But you didn't. You were just like, I have too many other things to worry about than to bother with this bitch. And I understand you're frustrated because in the long run, there's one winner of RuPaul's Drag Race. But to survive this week, you have to work in a team. Survive the damn week.
That is such a good point. And I didn't even connect it to needing to worry about the team as a whole and Asia being more centered on her own performance.
So then it just kind of cuts to mirror moments. My favorite part of this is not even something that's discussed. It's Monet says, how you feeling, Eureka? And she says, fat. I don't know why it got me so good because I wasn't ready for it.
Eureka makes me laugh a lot. She's just, it's partly just who she is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like that off the cuff shit. It just gets me good.
So then Dusty and Calorie start having a discussion. They cut to Dusty, and the way she color corrects and does her base drives me insane.
It's insane.
I was like, you don't have to do it all at once. It's like all I think about it. It's like, you don't have to do it this way. There are other ways you can do it. You look insane. And you already look insane out of drag and in drag. And now you just look more insane. And I don't...
My brain
it's
just broke.
And I was... You can tell... Okay, so poor Calorie's having her whole discussion about how she was... Wait, we'll get to it.
Okay, because I have a thing.
We will talk about it.
Okay.
We'll get there. They're having this conversation, and meanwhile, Dusty looks completely disinterested while Calorie's telling her story. She's like, wow, that sucks, as she's like using a beauty blender on her face. Like, you could tell that, like, Dusty asked this question because producers asked her to say it.
Exactly.
And then she's like beating her face, literally could give two shits about whatever's coming out of Calorie's mouth, but she's like trying to pretend to be interested.
The whole thing is, Dusty was talking about her signature makeup look.
Yeah.
And making a decision on how to paint her face this day.
Dots or no dots.
Clearly... Yeah. And Vanessa, this is what Vanessa texted me that I said I needed to make sure I transcribed.
Okay.
And I don't have it word for word. But basically, clearly the producers were like, wait a minute. You're talking about dots. Dots are round. Calorie, talk about how you were fat. Because it just jumps from one thing to another. Vanessa texted that to me, and I literally had tears just streaming down my face. And it's not that I think it's funny what happened to her. Obviously, it's not.
No, it's not.
I don't. No. It was just so abrupt. So, like, I don't blame Dusty for being like, I mean, I was, like, kind of trying to get some reassurance here. Now we're talking about you, but whatever.
We don't know how much, because it was edited, how much time is literally from when she's talking
Passing,
about,
sure.
to, like, Calorie talking about her life issues. But this is just, like, a quick reference to, like, understand how it works in the workroom. So, Kelly Mantle was recently on Hey Queen.
Ooh, okay.
And so... Johnny asked her, was like, what's it like being in the workroom when you're getting ready? And she was like, you have 2.5 hours. You got to get your face on. You got to get ready. Like, that's the time you have. Like, you have to do everything in 2.5 hours. Like, that's when it happens. But while you're doing it, the producers are like, why don't you ask someone this question? And she was like, they wanted me to ask Vivacious, like, what it was like to grow up where she did. And she was like, I'm putting on my mascara and trying to put on lashes. And I'm like, really just panicked, like, hey, what was it like to grow up where you grew up? And then Vivacious like, oh, mother, it was awful. Like, just like they were trying to, it's just like so funny because I can see this happening. And I have never seen it read so clearly as I did with Dusty, like, talking to Calorie.
It was just like, what?
Yeah, so let's just talk about poor Calorie for a second. So Calorie was clearly at one point bigger than she is, and she's adopting her curves. She's body positivity. She's doing the damn thing. So, like, good for you, Calorie.
And bless your soul.
I'm a big person, and I was a big person when I was younger. I don't remember being like, I remember people making comments, but I don't remember it being this vicious. Like, no one threw piss at me.
It's definitely different neighborhood by neighborhood.
Yeah.
Josh made the same comment. We never really came for bigger people.
Right.
He said, however, his high school definitely just sexuality in general, or implied as such, because he used to wear super tight clothes, obviously, because that was like style when we were in high school.
Right. Was he like an emo scene kid?
Oh yeah. I mean, except he started stretching his ears, I think he said, when he was like in middle school.
Oh, I don't
like
know
he
what that
was
means.
It's the when
you
wear
put gauges in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and he has big ones, obviously. Like, he started pretty quickly. You know what I mean? Like, that was just his aesthetic, as it were. It's just like what he did.
Right.
But that was like, that put a target on his back personally. And I think, again, it's just different.
Right. Because I just,
you know, like, whether your female matters and what kind of females you're surrounded with.
Right. I just remember everyone my high school, for the most part, we all minded our own damn business. And I say that as my grade because they're the people I progressed with. You know what I mean?
So this is related, unrelated. Like, people sometimes just can sense the thing you don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
And then constantly reference. And so I've always had big tits. And, like, they're not huge, right? They're, like, big, but they're not huge. But when I was younger, based on my frame and how quickly they, like, descended upon me, it was constantly a point of discussion all the time. Everybody brought it up. Like, I can't even stress to you all the fucking time.
Wow.
And it, like, doesn't even make sense because, like, who does that? It seems so abnormal. But, like, I kind of got what she was talking about. It's like people just decide to latch onto one thing.
Sure.
And I mean,
and if you let them, and then it just becomes
it's just like,
tenfold.
well, sometimes there's just like nothing you can fucking do about it. It's just like, well, I guess this is my life now.
Yeah, I clearly grew up in a very
it's so weird.
It is weird.
It's so weird. But my heart goes out to her because that's a hard thing to carry.
It sure is.
I just can't with people.
So, and it's kind of time for the Rusical, unless you have any other mirror moments. Okay.
Not really. Ru's gonna come out in that garment.
Sure is. That straight from All Stars 3's promo shoot.
The only difference is she had a shoulder thing on.
Yep.
That's it. I looked because she accessorizes it differently in the promo. Fifi tweeted about it and was like, oh, we've seen this before. And I tweeted back and I was like, girl, do you really think she was going to get in that more than once?
No.
Truly. She was like, 2 birds, 1 stone, honey. And I don't blame her. Like, that dress probably weighs 1 million pounds.
Now available on iTunes.
Exactly. Now available on iTunes. So, I mean, I get it to an extent. It's just funny after the fact.
Well, because I guarantee that she shot
promos literally that day.
Yeah, she did. There was like probably 4 days that passed. In that 4 days, she did promo shoots for season 10 and then promo shoots for All Stars 3.
I get it. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah. So I really liked Ross's blazer. I thought it was cute. It had like little splotches on it.
I love that.
So Tiffany and I were trying to come up with like a constructive way to talk about the queens. So I'm just going to go queen by queen and say what I thought about them, because I think talking about the performance as a whole is different, because like clearly the queens didn't write it. So that's not something we even have to discuss.
No.
Or we can discuss. How did you feel about this?
So it's fine. I get it. I understand it. I don't think it was like super great. It was like a way to work in a lot of jokes, but I don't think as like a bop or like a musical number, it like really even told a story. It was just like, what if RuPaul made drugs?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was it. So like that's kind of weird, because usually musical numbers tell a story or like have some sort of connecting thread through it all, when really this was just like, what if you took this drug? Drag race jokes, drag jokes. And it's just like, okay.
And the anal option is literally how it ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still thought it was funny because jokes.
Right.
But as a musical number, as a cohesive piece, no, I don't think it is.
I'm gonna go out here and say this. Ooh. I don't like these across this. I don't care for Glamazonian Airways or Bitch Perfect.
I liked Bitch Perfect better than Glamazonian Airways.
I think they always do it when there's too many queens. Can we do this at
That is true.
Can we do this at a top 8 when I know where I'm supposed to, like, because then you have 2 teams of 4, then you're only focusing on 4 people at a time. Focusing on 7 people and then on 6 people, that's a lot. And we barely know the queens and they're popping up so fast. And you're like, huh? Okay, are you doing good? Are you doing good? Are you doing good? And
I guess from a strategic? Yeah, sure.
You just stop
that
there.
standpoint, it's to see who can
stand out.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. However, I think your point is more prevalent.
Well, if you can't stand out in top 8, there's a real issue.
Exactly.
There's a severe issue.
So if you're not popping in that context,
right,
that's a problem. So anyway,
should we get to talking?
Let's just go ahead.
So I thought Asia did okay. She was passable. Asia?
Oh, Asia? Sorry. I was like, what? So I didn't really notice Asia the first time I watched it. And the second time I was like, okay, she was upset for reasons. Pay attention. Maybe you weren't paying close enough attention, because I was tweeting and stuff.
You were.
So on the second watch through, I was like, okay, here we go. I still didn't really notice her. She did solid. It was a solid, safe performance.
Yeah, she knew her
for
words.
sure.
She did the dance.
Right. But I didn't think it was like
there was no
winner
star
potential.
power. No
right.
X
She
factor,
didn't
no
like make me laugh or anything. You know, she just did the damn thing, which is fine. I'm not knocking that. But again, I didn't think it was like extremely good or anything.
The next person I wrote about, I think I wrote about them in the order they like showed up on the screen. So Eureka, girl,
oh,
that was hard to watch. So before we get too deep into this, I watched the thing with Raja. What's it called?
The pit stop.
The pit stop with Raja, and they clocked her footwear. She's wearing flats.
I know.
I
was gonna bring that up.
She's wearing flats because she fucked up her leg.
Right, and she's afraid to dance, and then she doesn't really.
Well, the problem, they clocked the shoe, and I was like, she probably, like, literally has doctor's orders, don't dance on your heels. And we can argue that the lip sync, she was dancing, but she was just stomping around. She wasn't dancing.
Really, she wasn't really doing anything. And then, to add insult to injury, clearly didn't know the words. Josh doesn't really, like, audibly comment on stuff. Mm-hmm. He's, like, a passive watcher. This was one of the times he was just like, oh.
It was dead silent when Eureka was on. Like, it was
not good.
Kristen and I would just like, we were like talking and I'm like, ooh. And
it was cringe.
Yeah.
Pure cringe.
I thought, so Yuho was the next person I read about, and she was probably my favorite from this group.
She surprised me.
I could not take my eyes off of her. Also, it didn't hurt her that she had like Karen Walker being
realness.
Her voice. Yeah,
yes.
like that was literally what she was serving us, and I was like, I'll buy that. So I really enjoyed her. I don't know. I don't have anything else about Yuho. Do you have anything else?
Mm-mm.
And then I have Calorie, and I felt like Calorie was doing everything right, but she wasn't big enough. It wasn't draggy enough.
It didn't. It felt like she wasn't coming in directly on the beat even. She was just like a little bit behind.
And I don't...
So it was like panning in to show her part and then already panning away when she was finally trying to like do something.
Yeah, so there's this thing where there's a ripple where she goes online and she's behind the queens and it's her
I
only
saw that you
solo.
couldn't even see her.
So I don't know if that's like choreography's fault or she should have supposed to be doing something else.
Jumping a little more? I'm not sure.
I'm wondering if she didn't know the words and she was just like, as she was like hovering behind them.
It is possible.
Dusty. I thought she was good, but I didn't think she was like everything.
Dusty surprised me. I didn't know what my expectations were, so when she came out and she was like moving and a shaking and a doing the thing.
Can I tell you what bothers me about Dusty?
Tell me everything.
And it's something she's done 2 weeks in a row.
Okay.
It's this motion, and it.
Ooh, what is it?
It's when she grabs her wig.
Yes.
And she just
her hands.
She does like always does a quick.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And BB Sahar Benet did it too, and I hated it when she did it, but she didn't do it as much because like Dusty's 2 for 2. And
she does it when she comes out for the runway later too.
Yeah, she sure does because she did it on the runway last week.
I know, and I didn't like it then.
Because she wears long nails, and I just don't.
It's fine, but you don't need to do it every time. What emotional story are you telling me?
If you're doing a performance where people need to see your mouth, don't wear a wig that might cover up your mouth. That is how you do that. Don't be stupid.
Ooh.
I don't like it. Sorry, Dusty.
Hanny.
That just, I hate that. I hate it. I'm still thinking about it and I'm cringing. Don't you dare send me a GIF. Don't. Tom
doesn't want it.
I don't want it.
Return it.
Sorry, I don't know why that
it's
got
fine.
me so, I really hate it. I don't know why it bothers me so much.
This is what I'm here for. I want to hear all about it. But she surprised me. I like her.
She did really well, but she did that thing and I was like, nope, I'm checked out.
Don't care. Bye. So conversely, Monique did not do a good job. No. And I was ready for her to come out because I'm starting to look forward to her.
Mm-hmm.
So she came out and she had on her thing and she was like doing the stuff and I was like,
Well, her issue is like hers is the first big solo where she's like kind of by herself where she walks out with the 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that like I think she did well on the part that where you were supposed to focus on her. But then I forgot about her.
There were like little moments after where she was just like popping in and out and clearly she wasn't quite on the beat.
Yeah.
She just didn't read anything on my radar at all. So.
Then Aquaria. So my thing is, like the judges say later, if you're not going to paint your face to look old, then your characterization has to speak for itself. Because I realized that you did your makeup in such a way where you could easily transition into your look later, which all of the queens did. The only thing she didn't have on, I think she threw some green eyeshadow on to like finish out the look. But like you didn't look old at all.
No. If you hadn't explained to me what it was, I wouldn't have clocked it the first watch.
No, I felt like she could have worn a frumpier gown to start out with. It all could have been much frumpier. Like, the way she moved, she should have been, like,
She
a beat
doesn't do
slow.
frumpy.
She should have been, like, a beat slower than everyone else. She should have been always, like, looking at someone.
A little bent over, like, crouched.
Yeah, just, like, shoulders up, like... Because you guys could clearly all see my little point that I did.
I saw it. It was good.
So, I think that wraps up Team Asia. So, let's move to Team Vixen.
Okay. So, she comes out, and the first thing I noticed was that her costume was, like, a gold bathing suit. And it was hard for me to focus on much else. So, I had to, like, tear my eyeballs away from the gold bathing suit. It was like a gold bathing suit with a belt. I don't know.
When they're dancing like this, I don't really care too much about what they're wearing. Unless if it's really bad, then I will notice it.
Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, that was not great. I did love her wig, and she deserved the win. For me, watching it again, I was like, okay. I get it.
I didn't remember her by the end of it.
Oh, really? The first time I watched it, I don't think I clocked a winner, but that's because it was hard for me to pick out just one person to win. There's so many of them.
So here's what happened. Here's the tape.
Tell me everything.
We haven't talked about season 9 on our podcast
Not really,
yet.
no.
So I have an issue. Okay, guys, bear with me, please. I have an issue with Shea Coulee. And it's not... I think she should have won because she did win the most challenges. However, Shea Coulee's problem is when she's rehearsing, she dances very well. She's in her sneaks. She moves really well. The second she puts her high heels on, it becomes very stiff and less fluid. And I have issues with that. And the way Vixen was moving in her heels was very similar to the way Shea Coulee was like very just... It bothered me, and I was just like, I had to let it go because I know that everyone like is like Shea Coulee is like such a great dancer, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, I don't think that I agree with you. like that's just.
You're so entitled to your opinion. You're allowed to feel that way.
I just know that I have lots of unpopular opinions,
and that's okay.
Yeah, so I didn't. Vixen was like whatever to me. She did well. That's where I'm gonna leave it.
That's fine. Yeah. So I have Blair next.
Yeah.
I love the look. She looks
cute.
So cute.
It was.
And I like that. And she did much better than I expected her to.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it was real rough.
Yeah, I felt like there was shaky moments, but I feel like she had the most to do on their team.
Yeah,
she was like all over.
Yeah, exactly. She had to be all over the stage.
Yeah.
She knew the lip sync well.
Yeah, she looked good. She knew the damn thing. Mm-hmm. She did it. Who do you have next?
I have Monet, and you know what? I didn't love it. I thought she could have done more. And maybe it was just because I hated her wig. Because I did hate her wig.
Oh, it was whatever to me.
It was not great. But I don't know what I thought was going to happen. But she didn't do it. And she didn't come close to doing it. And she was just like low safe for me.
Yeah, I thought she did fine. I just wrote fine.
And I thought I thought she was going to like make me laugh. I thought she was going to like...
Her part was probably one of the shorter ones,
but
too.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, too, as maybe she just didn't really have the opportunity, and then when she did have the opportunity, it was only okay.
Well, they gave her that man voice part, but it wasn't like she moved during it. She was just holding something, and the gag was supposed to be that the voice was low.
Right.
But that's not something Monet does.
No.
Like she didn't have to change her voice.
Maybe the whole thing was disjointed, but I was just like, okay. And then this was right around when they were doing the drag mouth section, and I bring it up specifically because they said Mary.
Oh, they did.
In the song, and I was like, all right, Mary. I was so excited.
I clocked that too, and I was like, if they say Squirrel Friends.
And they do later.
Do they?
They sure do. I have a note for it because I was like, oh my fuck. If they say it bears repeating at any fucking point in this goddamn season, I'm going to lose my shit because I'm going to notice it. And I'm going to talk about it a lot. So
here's a fun fact. Whenever they were doing the marathon of things, so I had season 6 on. Season 6 was on, and Kristen was over, and my brother, we were all like watching it. I think we were eating dinner together. And they say it bears repeating. And both Kristen and Art stopped what they were doing and looked at me, and they were like, they just said that. And I was like, I know. That's where it comes from. Like, it wasn't just like we grabbed this quote out of the air. It's something that happened on the show.
It's referencing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, who did you have after Monet?
I don't really have anybody specific after that.
Oh, so here comes ready for Tom's unpopular opinion part 73 of this episode.
Yes.
I thought Kameron did the best, and I was living for her.
Okay.
I thought she looked amazing. I thought she knew all the words. She was rolling around on the floor.
Yes. So I have like a whole thing about that. I don't know
Okay.
if I have it written out here or later. People are sleeping on Kameron.
I think
people are writing her off as quote unquote the trade of the season
or the muscle
whatever.
queen, and that's all she talks about.
Yes.
But you know who's talking about her being a muscle queen? All of you fucks who are accusing her of just floating by on being a muscle queen.
That's not what's happening.
That's not what's happening.
She killed this. She looked great. She knows how to dress her body right. It's not like she had on titties.
No, but
she had something on her legs.
She contoured those titties, though.
That she did, and she had on a garment that accentuated
her
her
hip.
like she has a waist.
Yeah.
Her face was right. I said
the wig was cute.
It was, and you could see her face.
Yeah.
Josh and I had a whole conversation during one of the commercial breaks, and I was explaining to him what trade meant, and we were both like, "Oh my god, that's so fucked up," because it's like based off of our conversation, and obviously we can't comment on it much further than that because we're straight white people, like whatever. But I really feel like people are giving her a hard time, setting her to the side, treating her like filler, and I think that's fucked up because she was definitely one of the strongest people of this episode.
She sure was.
Period. I'm so glad you agree because I was ready to be very like...
Well, when we talk about the runway, you'll hear some real tea about how I felt about this goddamn...
because I was really happy with her. And
yeah, no, I thought she did amazing.
She doesn't get a ton of screen time now, except for when they want to talk about her body out of drag. And that's a choice, and I understand why. However, I'm really into her drag and her performance, all of it.
Yeah, me too.
I love it. So,
and then Cracker did okay.
Oh yeah, and she was fine in the performance.
And then Mayhem was the only other person that I think we didn't discuss.
Oh no, we didn't talk about her. She did good during her solo. I will say I liked it. It got like slow and soulful. And I felt that she hit the marks in my head that I feel I need to see when someone's doing that kind of solo performance. However, it wasn't anything extra than that.
Right.
But overall, obviously, the second team I think had better moments, and each of them was better.
Well, they were a better unit
together. Yeah, like you were saying again, that was such a good point. They were very much a team.
So then. Let's get... Oh, kids, let's talk about this for 1 second. I know that I had commented on someone's... I forget who I replied to. And they were like, I love the runway. And I was like, I hated the runway. Let's talk about this runway for one damn second. The category was very best drag. So if we are judging these contestants on their very best drag, there are maybe 3 people who did it. Maybe. I would have booted almost all of these looks because I was told the category was very best drag. And then the things that came out onto that runway were no one. If they were the best drag, then they all need to go home.
Did you see Kennedy's tweet?
I sure did. And I was like, bitch, I love you. I love you for a reason because this was a pitiful showing of very best drag. And so just keep that in mind. Some of the outfits that I didn't like in the very best drag category, I did like. But let's keep in mind, that is what they were to present to us, and most of them did not.
No, I agree with that. So I will say for me that I misinterpreted a joke that was made earlier in the episode when talking about the judges. And then I just carried it into the runway thinking that the runway theme was glitter and sparkle and stuff like that.
Glitter on the runway.
Yeah, I didn't think it was very best drag. Like, I didn't clock it until Tom and I were texting after the episode. And he was like, it's very best drag. And I was like, well.
It's not even best drag. It's what you would wear in the finale if you got that far. To me, that's what that means.
Changed my perception on the whole entire thing. Because I was like, oh, okay. And then once you said that and I was reflecting on the episode, I was like, wait a minute.
Because me and Michelle were on the same fucking level when we were looking at these these outfits. Because I was like, when Michelle got to talk to them, I was like, I can't wait for her to like read them. Best drag? I just wanted her to say that down the line. Best
really?
drag?
Really?
Your best drag?
This is it? Is it?
Okay.
So anyway, let's just go ahead and jump in it. I will say from the top, I liked Halsey on the show. She was funny. She fit in. The back and forth between her and Michelle. I thought they were just going to kiss because they're very cute together. They would live a very happy life, I think. Their personalities vibe. I was into that. Usually, like, the judges don't make a difference to me. I will say she killed it. And it made me like her more.
I don't like Halsey's music, but I did appreciate her on the show.
Her voice and her music all sounds the same to me, but...
Well, that's not even what we're talking about. She was a great judge.
Right. But I'm just agreeing with what you said.
And I thought Padma, she did really well, too.
She held her own.
Yeah. Well, she definitely disagreed with people, and I always love when
cool,
our guest judge is like, I don't think so. So the first up is Asia. Now, whenever we're talking about Very Best Drag, I was a little bit confused, and since I've watched it again, I like it more. But the first time it came out, I was like, well, this doesn't scream Very Best Drag. And then it got worse from Asia. So that color...
I liked it.
The color is stunning on her. So here's the
thing, though. I think that it's more peach than it is hot pink.
No, it's like a coral. It's like a hot coral.
I liked it better when I took it as like a hot pink more thing. But then I saw photos of it later. I still love it. And the point still stands that Michelle made, that everything head to toe is color matched correctly.
Yeah, and that's hard to do.
And I have it easy. So I notice it when someone else is correct.
Because if your tights match your skin, that's
that's amazing. Yeah. And she was giving me, I'm going to say it, Barbie realness. And I was into that. Lots of pinkish tones, lots of sparkle. Does she wear contacts?
She sure does. And I hate them. That's the only thing
I don't like that either. But I didn't want to say anything in case that's just her eyes. But I felt like she has like hazel eyes.
She is brown.
Yeah. But then she puts on in the contacts at one point, and it's very jarring for me. But I mean, that's your choice. And like, I don't want to.
It's like because Coco always wore blue contacts.
Which is, again, do whatever you want.
It freaks me out.
But it felt like with the hair color, with the eye color, like fucked it for me. Like it would have been perfect if she just didn't do that. Because for some reason, the combination of both on top of me not liking the contacts. But anyway.
So
it definitely goes downhill.
So now here comes the question. Do you think that's Asia's very best drag? I do not think that is Asia's very best drag.
Probably definitely not by now.
It's a beautiful garment, but it's not. I don't think it's her best drag. She's a pageant. Let's not forget that Asia's a pageant queen. I fully expected her to come out in a gown. This is the one time in the whole season where I want to see gowns on gowns on gowns on gowns on gowns. This is the only.
But you could make the argument that best drag
does not equal gowns. But this
but for you, that's what that means.
Well, that's what I want to see.
Right, that's what you would interpret.
But there are other things that come out that aren't
There's
gowns
a level
that I
of
think are
polish
good. Yeah.
that I think I expect to see. And if we're talking about, if we're thinking back to the performance and when Alyssa was coaching them and kept saying, more, drag it up.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a level of extra. However you want to apply that is particular to your drag. Mm-hmm. Do I think that she was at that level for me? No, probably not.
That's all.
But it was a solid showing.
It was great. It looked great. She looked great, but it just doesn't.
I don't
not
think
best drag to me.
No, very best.
Very best drag.
So
it's not even best drag for me, but it's clearly not very best drag. So. Yuha came out in a fucking bodysuit with a loofah jacket over top of it.
I didn't like it at all.
Nope. You have the audacity to come onto that stage knowing how Michelle Visage feels about bodysuits and catsuits. She thinks it's a cop-out. And it's not something that she hasn't made clear already on the show. She has said it. No.
It's got to be a damn good bodysuit if that's going to be the choice that you make. But I just didn't like any of it. I didn't like any of the patterns mixed together. I didn't like her hair.
And for you to have the nerve to say you have something better on the rack, and it's just like, what are you doing then? What are you doing? What are you doing? But we'll get to that. But, So that's a no from me. No. That is not your very best drag, Yuha.
No.
So then we have Dusty Ray Bottoms. Now,
Get into it. Go ahead. I'm just going to let you go ahead.
I love this jacket. I think it's adorable.
It's a beautiful jacket.
It's really cute. Do I think it's anyone's very best drag? No, and she certainly isn't wearing pants. Now let's flash back to season 8, week 1, where they had to redo old design challenges. And Miss Layla McQueen gets post-apocalyptic, and she makes a beautiful blazer, but doesn't put on pants because she didn't have time. She wore a leotard underneath her beautiful. I want to reaffirm that it was beautiful. And she gets read to filth for not making a bottom to her garment. And Dusty Ray Bottoms comes out in something that she already had made or already made. And she gets praised the house down boots? I don't think so.
Your best drag don't got pants.
Or any kind of nothing?
Ripped.
And I know, oh honey, I get your aesthetic is Beetlejuice realness or whatever you're serving to me. I get it. I'm here with you. I'm feeling that and I like it.
I would have liked it more if she made it more on the nose Beetlejuice referential.
I do think that blazer is gorgeous, but do I think it's her best drag?
No.
I sure don't.
No.
It's a boot from me, honey.
Fine.
Oh, she looked great.
But
it's a boot from me because it's not your very best drag. Nope, right. Sure isn't. And I'm still mad that Layla got read for filth when literally 2 seasons later they're gonna praise and queen for doing the same damn thing. I have issues with Michelle's hypocrisy when it comes to this runway. I have huge issues.
Tom is here to make it clear.
Just saying. Shall we move on to Monique?
Yes.
So I like this Cookie Monster realness that she is serving.
I did.
I think we could have done more than a bodysuit.
Yes, agreed. And also, if you're going to have eyes on your head, make them out of something else that's not clearly styrofoam. Because that distracted me,
that took you
too. Out.
I realize that money is the concern for the queens
for
at this
sure.
point,
But you can find other material.
Yeah, when you come back for All Stars, whatever, they better be big-ass googly eyes. That's what I'm expecting.
You know what I mean? Like, you can... I think anything but styrofoam.
And then the reveal, and I was just like, what is this? What is this reveal? I liked the bodysuit underneath, too, but I was like, what are you telling me here? Because you're still wearing the eyes. So what do the eyes have to do with the thing?
You could have got felt and tacked those eyes onto those styrofoam, and it would have been less distracting to me because it would have been harder for me to tell that it was styrofoam. But when you draw on styrofoam,
or you paint,
you get that gradient thing, and then it's just like, oh well, that's fucking styrofoam.
Yeah, but I didn't hate the eyes.
The concept, even though there wasn't like a true concept, it was fine. You could tell she bungled the reveal a little bit because it's like getting caught on her leg at one point.
But what was the what?
I don't know.
I totally agreed when Padma. That's her name, right?
Padma? I believe so. Sorry, whoever that lady is, that was in glitter.
Yeah, she says like your reveal didn't tell a story. Like if she ripped off her gown and it was like a cookie bodysuit, that would have been funny because Cookie Monster is full of cookies. Something more than just hands on your titties.
Right, rhinestone hands on your titties.
Yeah, no, it's a boot. That is clearly not her very best drag either.
I would say no.
So,
is this calorie?
Sure is.
Okay, so off the bat, she is really cute, and I want to give her that. And I like a good top knot.
If I want to see a top knot, I can go to the goddamn mall and see it. I don't want to see what I can see at the mall on RuPaul's Drag Race, honey.
No. And those...
Sure don't. And it's a messy knot. It was like something that she threw up there in 2 seconds.
But not even on purpose messy. You know what I mean? You can make that a big-ass top knot with some big curls.
If she added more hair to it and it was like a giant, messy top knot, I'm going to live for that. But this was girl at the mall, and that bitch can paint her face. And I'm going to give her that.
My hair is dirty. I didn't have time to put in the dry shampoo.
I didn't want to wash my bangs today, so I just put them up in a messy bun. Yeah, no. I think it's fine if that's what you're going to do. Like, I'm not reading girls who do that with their hair and go to the mall in it. No, I'm reading...
Me neither, because I am that girl, but...
I am reading Khloe Kardashian for having the nerve to bring that to the main stage of RuPaul's Drag Race and think that I, as a viewer, is going to be like, yes, honey, work that average girl top knot that I can see at the mall every other day.
No, thank you.
Nope, don't have time for it.
And I hated her gloves.
I think the gloves were cute, but they did not go.
It just was so distracting to me. And then she took them off later, and they left like green rings on her fingers because she was probably sweating like a monster, as I would have been as well.
Yeah, you're up there forever.
But it was all very not good.
Yeah, no, and that like Michelle says later that it's just like something you could see at a club. Yeah,
anywhere.
But I will say the garment fit her well and it looked good on her. But it just was like, it's not your very best drag, honey.
Mm-mm.
But you can paint your face. And
She sure can. She really can.
I have a note about her, like, later on in Untucked.
Okay.
But
Aquaria.
I have Eureka next.
Do you? Oh, I might have skipped over Eureka. It wasn't good. I'm sorry.
Okay. So
it was a well-made jumpsuit, but it's a fucking jumpsuit. She didn't even really like do much with her makeup to begin with. It's a very similar wig to the one we saw on the challenge, except this one's shorter and not blue. I liked the mermaid, like the mermaid glitter or whatever you want to call it, but like there wasn't that much of it on there to begin with because of the way the bodysuit was made. Again, probably the nicest bodysuit, I guess, but like I didn't like it.
So, hold on. Let me start here.
Go ahead.
It is not her very best drag. I agree.
No.
But I love this catsuit because it's different. It looked like Speed Racer, and I liked that her mermaid sequence didn't cover the whole thing because that will take away. Because I guess
that's true.
If you're walking and then the colors between your legs are shifting because your thighs are rubbing together, so it can't be all over.
And I understood the choice too because it's supposed to be helping create a shape.
Right. Well,
also, and she was padded really well. Like she has shape.
That bitch she probably can't even fucking breathe when she's in drag.
No.
Because she pulls in her midsection like we all compliment Violet Chachki for pulling in her very little bit of fat, but to pull that much fat in and make shape out of it,
it's a lot.
It's impressive, and I'm sure she can't breathe.
She
and she's
executed
uncomfortable.
the fuck out of it. But even with a different colored wig, come out with hot pink hair. I don't know anything.
No, I don't think it was her best drag, but I really love that catsuit. I really.
Then is it Aquaria?
Sure is.
Okay, so I liked this.
Okay.
Because it was weird and it was a little different and it was a little unusual.
Yeah.
So, and she had like no boobs, which is fine.
Nipples out.
Because her face is so feminine. Like, I liked the contrast there. I was into that. I don't know that I loved like the nose thing, the many rings in her nose. It added something, definitely, because of the proportions of the whole entire thing, but I don't know. Is that her? That very well could be her best drag at this point. I don't know.
Okay, so I really like this. I really like this as well. And I had issues when I watched season 7 because I was like, half of those girls didn't pad or do anything to their bodies and they just kind of wore it straight. I do appreciate that Aquarius, she kind of tells you, she's like, I'm serving gender fuck realness. I'm not padded.
Deal with it.
My titties are out. That's the tea. That's what I'm doing. And I really like the way her her underwear was like that 80s goes up really high. I thought that was
French cut.
Is that what that's called?
I believe so.
I liked that, and I thought she looked good, and I was very impressed that the mesh dress was holding up all of those feathers at the bottom.
It fit her really well. Like, it was, the whole thing was put together correct.
So I don't know that I would wear this for very best drag, but I didn't hate this. I like that it was much different than what a lot of other people were doing.
Like,
so it was
completely different direction from everyone else.
Yeah, it was just a very pleasing to look at because it was just like, oh, it made me think. It made me
exactly.
go, ooh,
and
I like this? Because
I was like, this is making me feel something, but I'm not sure what it is. Yeah. And I was looking forward to seeing it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, Aquarius coming soon. I want to see this. Mm-hmm. So then we get into the Vixen, and I'm super curious to hear what you have to say.
I hate this. It's so plain Jane.
I want you to say what I'm thinking.
Say it.
I feel like Aja did it better at this point. She wouldn't have known that yet.
Yeah.
Because obviously the season hadn't aired.
Right.
It's just unfortunate because we just saw Aja do it better.
Yeah.
Like, the concept of it is just like a not as good version of that thing.
Yeah.
I get it.
And Phoenix Eureka came in with like her fiery Phoenix thing already this season.
Right.
And I thought I liked hers better because of all the feathers. It was like fun. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This to me it seemed like something you could buy at the mall during Halloween.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's just how I felt about it. So that didn't scream very best drag to me either. So
then we get into Miss Cracker, who was 100% my favorite. Insert Dragometry.
She was your favorite?
Yeah. Dragometry, that's what I'm trying to say. Insert that joke here.
I thought this was plain too.
I liked it.
I was like, whatever.
Really? Well, I appreciate you.
I thought she looked more expensive I thought her drag last week was better than this. I thought.
Oh.
To me, it's like if your gown from the 99-cent store looked better than your gown that you had paid good money or like took good time to make, then I'm like, that can't be your best drag.
I have a top 2 and she's in it.
You have a what?
I have a top 2 for this and she's in it. I'll put
Okay.
it that way. But yeah, and I liked her hair. I thought that was hilarious.
The best part about Miss Cracker being on the runway,
I know what you're going to say.
RuPaul said,
Go ahead.
keep it boxy, wonk wonk. And I was like, you just referenced Jocelyn Fox, who didn't even win the season.
You did it.
Ugh.
I can't wait to listen to All Right, Mary and hear how excited they get.
So excited.
So.
And I wrote, is Ru taking pharmaceuticals that allow her to remember things?
Maybe she's rewatching the seasons.
She was like, did it really used to be more fun? She went back
Maybe.
and watched old seasons.
Maybe.
Because she's doing great this
She's
season.
getting humbled, like humbled herself a little and was like, maybe I need to rewatch some clips on YouTube. Something.
Yeah. So then is Mayhem Miller.
What did you think?
I thought she looked great, but it still wasn't doing it for me.
No, that dress, and
I feel like it didn't fall all the way to the floor, and it fell at a weird spot for me. Like, it didn't hit, it wasn't long enough or it wasn't short. I don't know. There was something weird about the length of the gown.
the color is so beautiful on her.
It was.
Like, very complimentary, but
The tulle was shaped very strangely on her shoulders.
that was a little weird,
Yeah.
and I don't like the way the pattern laid. Like, with that, like, lacy rose stuff over top of the backdrop of the pretty blue color. It felt very much like my mom's going out dress when I was a child in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that sort of look, like with the texture on the smooth, was super common then.
Yeah.
So it's trendy now because everything in the 90s is back. But even still, the gown is still a little bit too simple.
Yeah, it didn't
for
feel
very best drag.
It didn't feel extravagant enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So Blair.
Okay. I really like this, but it needed
Me
volume
too.
somewhere, and I don't know where. I don't know if I needed bigger hair, or if I needed bigger.
She's very
shoulder.
tall and lanky.
I don't know. I feel like it kind of went straight down. There was nothing like.
She pads a little bit, but I always feel like I can see her hip bones anyway. Like the front points of her hip bones.
Yeah.
I feel like I leaned back and pointed like you guys could see me.
Well, you could hear it when she leaned.
Exactly. So and it's very jarring for me. I mean, not that you can't see that in females sometimes, but in a gown like this where there's like literally things hanging off of it.
Right, and I don't want to tell anyone that they need to pad, but I think that sometimes your gown needs to make an illusion that your body isn't.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Or there are naturally more flattering things in particular garments than others.
I don't know.
Because the beads were like
maybe the beads
kind
need
of
to
all
move.
over the place.
They need to move.
I don't know.
More. I don't know. I didn't like. The only thing I really didn't like was the slit was in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked it somewhere else.
Sure.
I don't know why. It looked weird when she turned around and then all of a sudden you could see her calf. And I was like, oh wait, what is that?
Right.
So this was almost there for me. Like it almost hit it. It almost did that for me,
like
but
a
it
little
didn't quite.
Sure.
Then is Kameron, and I am obsessed with this look.
Her makeup,
Looks so good.
the whole thing,
Yeah.
is amazing. Josh lived for it too because he said it was very Jeremy Scott Moschino, like high fashion. He showed me something that looked very similar to this, where it was like a nude illusion thing with flowers instead of butterflies, essentially.
Yeah.
So the concept was really cool, and she completely transformed herself.
Yeah.
Completely.
I didn't know who it was for a second.
No.
I was like, wait, which queen?
She did amazing.
Yeah, I live for this. And I don't know. She came out and I was like, well, this is different. This is fun. This is...
Like, I'm into this.
My only complaint is that I wish your bodysuit covered your feet.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that.
She had nude pumps on. You can't really tell from, like, the long shot, but when she's in Untucked, you can tell that, like, it stops at her ankle. I just wish... at the detail, like it just went over
like
her
covered
foot.
her
yeah,
foot.
that's all. That's like my only complaint about this, and
that is
it's a little weird around her neck, but I'll let
yeah,
that go.
I noticed that, but honestly, like again,
it was so different and refreshing compared to all the other bullshit that was.
I loved
the
it.
tulle added like body and shape to her,
Oh,
and the way
I lived
and
for the
Kameron
tulle.
served that fucking garment.
She
was
sure
like,
fucking did. Fuck the haters.
Yeah.
That was also obviously my other favorite.
Yeah.
Like I loved this. For me, Kameron and Miss Cracker. Like I'm really honing in on them. I'm like interested to see what's coming. So, Monet.
Those shoes couldn't match your fucking outfit. What
They
the
like
fuck were
matched her
No, they
hair.
They sure didn't. No, they did not go with
But
anything.
I didn't like it either.
When was the last time you matched your shoe to your hair and the rest of your outfit didn't go with either of those two things?
I match my hair a lot, but I don't. In this context, I would not have done that, obviously.
No.
And it still didn't work.
It looked so stupid.
It was rough.
And it was a cat suit. And I'm sure it was an expensive cat suit with the amount of beading that was on it because she sparkled the fuck out of that runway. But no.
A cat suit. It wasn't an exciting cat suit. I understood that the whole thing was like literally made of like rubies or whatever.
Yeah, it was like a luxurious. I'm sure that cost her a pretty penny. And Yuha made it.
Positive.
Did you know that Yuha made it?
I heard that. But again, it just, I'm not what I would classify as very best drag. And also, again, the wig and the shoes. I clocked the shoes. I knew you were going to bring it up because I was like, that's a weird choice.
No, it was like, it was pretty. And it was like, this is the shoe you're going to serve this to me in?
Weird.
I did not like,
I didn't get it.
It was, the shoe was so distracting that I was like, I probably would like this cat suit better had it not been with those shoes.
It would have changed it for you.
I don't think it would have made it her very best drag, but it would have been a better outfit. The shoes were so distracting to me that I was like, I can't even like this. Side note, I watched Review with a Jew for episode 1 because she puts them out like a week late.
I need to watch that. I still haven't watched
said
it.
This was just like, kind of because I brought up that Yuha made her Monet's gown or outfit. I guess Ms. Cracker reached out to Yuha to like make something for her for Drag Race, but she didn't know she was just asking for new stuff, and Yuha was like, "I'm so busy, I can't take on any stuff," because Yuha was busy making her own fucking shit.
That's
Drag
fucking
Race.
hilarious.
So
I was curious about
funny.
That's so funny.
So for the fantasy league, we had to do our top toot, bottom toot. Who's your top toot?
Kameron.
Kameron is also my top
Yeah,
toot.
it's gotta be Kameron.
So if anyone picked Kameron this week, you got 40 extra points
Have
going your
at
way.
it.
And then bottom toot.
Yuha, probably.
I'm gonna say the Vixen. I really didn't like it.
That's fair. I feel you.
I
I will say that I thought it was interesting that my favorite runway looks were on the winning team.
because they're lucky. Because you imagine if the other team. Because I feel like they would have gotten on the line and be like, no, and then Kameron everything. I feel like that's how that had to. Well, Blair would have done well too, I think. But I'm just saying.
Rough. So anyway.
So then, Team Vixen wins. I agree with that. Do you agree with Team Vixen?
Wholeheartedly.
Okay. Now, you think you agree with Vixen winning overall?
I do.
I would have picked Kameron because I thought she did better on the runway. Because clearly the episodes are longer so we can see a full runway. If we're gonna see a full runway, it should count for something.
I feel like that's true
and I thought
too. I just don't think they're doing that though.
I think Kameron served during the performance. I couldn't take my eyes off of her. I thought she looked gorgeous. And then she came out in like this butterfly fairy creature nonsense, and I was like living for it. So I would have picked.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I just don't think the runway matters that much, if at all.
The runway matters to me.
I mean, it matters to me too, and it used to matter more, but I think especially when there's so many people on the runway too, unless if you do so badly, then they're not going to comment on it. Like, you're safe, you know?
So,
and then that's it.
Just because we're talking about this, I this is something that I wish, because I have been watching Thailand's Drag Race. So Thailand Drag Race Thailand, I think it's Drag Race Thailand. What they do, it's so different than what we do. So they'll do a mini challenge. They'll tell you the winner of the mini challenge. They'll tell you the maxi challenge. The maxi challenge can be a design challenge or it can be something different from a design challenge. So if it's something different, they do the maxi challenge before you're even on the runway. You already know who won the maxi challenge, and the elimination is based on how you did overall. So like they have a runway. They always have a runway challenge. They always like every week they're like working on garments like every week.
That's awesome.
It's just so I like that so much better because the runway clearly counts, because if someone comes out in a shitty runway, they get red for it, and like it puts them in danger because it's all, I literally think it's like mini, maxi, and like runway, it's like 33%. Like I think
across
they all
the
carry
board.
a weight.
Right.
Yeah.
I would prefer if that were true.
Oh my god, I just lost where I was.
This
is why I can't do this way. Okay, so then they get into critiques. And I only have a few notes. I
Okay.
appreciate Michelle coming for people the way she did about their very best drag because I was
Same.
because I was enraged when I watched this episode the first time. I was like, very best drag. Okay, whatever. But Yuha claps back whenever Michelle gives critique. And I understand where you is coming from because it's like you just wore black and yellow last week, but you also were wearing something from the 99-cent store. So I would assume your really expensive black and yellow gown would blow us away and we wouldn't care.
Exactly. That was my thought as
Especially if it actually was Yua's very best drag.
Allegedly. So this is when I noticed I really, really appreciated Ross in this episode.
Okay.
Because he's so gentle in his delivery. He's very direct, though.
Yeah.
He's not mincing words, and he's not diluting what he's trying to say to you. It's just he's wrapping it up in this beautiful little package that is like fuzzy and warm, and then he's just, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's so compassionate and sweet, but he says the things like I would also say if I could say them to people. And I live for it. I love him. I love Ross. So anyway.
And then the bottom two was revealed, and it's Calorie and Eureka. Do you agree with this bottom two?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I really think
like,
you can't argue.
There's no arguing with that.
So do you want to do it this week, or do you want to do me to do the lip sync? The time has come for you.
Oh, yeah. So real quick,
something before that.
In the deliberation part after they dismiss the girls.
Okay.
So before they say the lip sync.
Before they bring back my girl.
Exactly. Yeah. That's when they say squirrel friends. Because she
okay.
says, just between us squirrel friends. And that's when I lived. So then they reveal the bottom two. And then now I have to think about saying lip sync for your life. No, I know. The time has come to lip sync for your life.
Good luck. And don't
fuck it up.
And I felt like Calorie, beyond not being as good, didn't know the words.
No.
I felt like
it wasn't very sharp.
No, it was like, I was like,
are you on it?
Do you know this?
Are you got it?
Have you heard this song before?
Or what?
And so I've talked about this before on our podcast. So Calorie is like moving properly, but she's not doing it as grandiose as she needs to.
Right.
Because her energy's not going all the way to the tippy tips of her fingers.
So she's at like a 75%.
And I would say like a 60.
Ooh, okay.
Whereas Eureka, who maybe isn't moving as much.
No, she's not.
She's serving you all of the energies coming from face and her hands. And when she stomps, you can feel the earth shake. And I don't.
Absolutely.
It's not a fat joke. That was just when she stomped, I could feel it.
Yeah. Energy.
And I was living for Eureka. I think this is
she did very well.
This is the first time we got to see her lip sync.
Yeah.
So because she was never in the bottom last time, so I thought she did really well, and I was here for it. I was thankful that Eureka stayed that did well because I was like, you cannot go home.
I didn't have a doubt in my mind that Calorie was doomed just because you were in the bottom last week. You didn't outperform yourself in any way, shape, or form. They're not going to want to get rid of Eureka. If she would have really, 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 really fucked up, they would have.
Yeah.
Obviously. But instead, they were going to do whatever they could.
Yeah. If she would have Valentinaed, it would have been...
Right. It would have been over. It would have been a wrap. But otherwise...
I'm glad Eureka pulled it together enough to give
too.
like a solid performance.
Agreed. For sure.
So... I really appreciated this. Well, RuPaul says after the lip sync, when she's telling her to leave, she says, "My darling," and I was like, oh my god, you don't know her name. And then she says, "A calorie-free drag race just won't be the same." And I thought that was so cute.
It was cute.
I thought that was adorable.
I appreciated that a lot.
Kristen made me go back and listen to that because she was like, "Did you hear what RuPaul said? It was very sweet." And I was like, "Oh, she's not normally this nice this
no,
early.
She's usually just like, sashay away.
You may leave."
Right.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And then it goes right into Untucked.
Yes, honey.
Okay. So the first thing that I noticed when they're walking into the workroom is Monet's shoes. don't match. And she's talking about them. I'm like, I would not advise you to talk about your shoes because they don't go.
But whatever, girl.
Because that's the first thing I already clocked the shoes, and then I clocked them again whenever she kicked them off, and I was still mad about it. Because, Monet, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
How dare you?
I still don't like her any. It's not that I like her any less, but the shoes, girl. The shoes situation, we need to pull it together. Not good. So then, this is where Vixen discusses why she didn't choose the queens she didn't choose, or why she chose the queens she did. She says she didn't want any big personalities. And I would agree. I mean, I guess that's going to be easier to work with, but the only thing about not picking big personalities is you might suffer from them not delivering. Yeah.
So it's a power thing, too. She thinks she's going to be able to better control the situation if she has quieter people and she's the loudest voice in the room. I don't think that's necessarily true, because if you're a good leader, people are going to follow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So she did well with keeping it team-oriented overall, but, I mean, you don't necessarily have to approach it that way. That's just my thought on it.
Yeah, and then she says that she was going to pick Aquaria again.
Yeah.
And then makes the statement that it doesn't matter because Aquaria won't be here for very long. That's that statement. And when I first watched the first 10 minutes, I was like, Aquaria's in trouble, because a lot of the focus in the first 10 minutes was on Aquaria.
Correct.
She had lots of talking heads in that first section, and then, like, Vixen's coming for her. And I was like, wow, if we're going to get rid of, like, a lot of people like Aquaria. So it's like, if we're going to get rid of someone that popular this soon, that's, like...
big.
Yeah, that's huge. And then Vixen said that, and I was like, I'm not sure Aquaria will last that long either, based on what I've seen so far.
It depends.
Yeah.
I'm hoping... Well, not that I'm hoping. I don't know what else she's going to have to offer, is a better way for me to put that. I don't know what else she's got.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So
then the other team comes back. They didn't really talk about much before the losing team
Not
came
really.
back.
I just noticed that Kameron was really sweet again, because she was saying, like, I feel like I really know you guys better now, and I know your spirit. And I was like, oh my God, Kameron.
I love Kameron. And we're picking back up.
And so
the other team comes back from the runway, and Dusty, they ask how the critiques went, and Dusty says that if their team wasn't in the bottom, then she would have won. And I think that's probably true, with the exception if Yuha would have killed the runway, Yuha would have won.
I agree with that. That makes a lot of sense
but
to me.
I think Yuha really blew this best drag.
She fucked it up, yeah.
So I don't think...
She didn't do good there.
Not that it really matters, because that's not how it played out. But I honestly think Yuha did the best in the Rusical throughout the whole thing. I was watching her the most of the time.
I was too, also. And I don't think one number was more difficult than another.
No.
I think, again, it's Asia being in her feelings.
And self-conscious. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Asia just came off so bitter this whole episode.
She's so surly. Like, I don't even know how else to put it besides bitter and surly. Like, you are so mad. And, like, I get it. It's because you're disappointed in yourself. That has to be what it is.
Yeah.
But you gotta pull it up. You know what I mean? You're on TV. You're still on RuPaul's Drag Race. They gave you good critiques.
Right. It didn't even come for her. They're like, you're team leader. Why wasn't your team performing? Because it came down. They were judged definitely individually.
More than just a team. Yeah. For sure. Her critiques weren't shitty.
I hate Dusty's hair. She must have done that stupid move with it. Yeah. I really hate it. So... the next thing that big thing that happens is Calorie says, I'm forgettable, obviously, because none of you asked me how I did. It's 2 weeks in a row where she's been super bitter coming off the runway. And I understand.
I rolled my eyes so hard at this point.
But I understand. But
everybody was, like, kikiing and, like, exclaiming and, like, talking about themselves more than asking each other.
So I feel like had Calorie stuck around, she would have been Alexis Michelle 2.0.
That's exactly who I thought of.
Because she's just like, why is anyone paying attention to me? Like,
it's just like, girl.
Well, first of all, there are 13 of you.
Yeah, exactly.
It is hard to keep up.
The room is crowded, girl.
And
the room is crowded.
I remember you, Calorie, for all of the wrong reasons. So do you want me to remember you or do you want me to not remember you?
I'm just saying.
And that's like not even a read. It's just like, that's all I remember her for, is not being as good as other people. And then Calorie talks about how she's a big name in New Mexico and how the drag scene is smaller. And that's if you're, I'm sure Calorie compared to local drag talent in New Mexico is superior because she can paint her face. And I think sometimes she gets the outfits right.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
Yeah. So
I don't live down there. I'm going to take her word.
Yeah. I can understand how it'd be frustrating to go from top of the crop to like bottom of the barrel.
Right.
And there was a discussion in our Facebook group about this, but I was just like, let's not forget that Chi Chi DeVayne came in trash bags and served it all the way to top 4. Let's not forget that Sharon Needles ran out of costumes and started reusing things and still won season 4. Let's not forget that Alaska was really rough when she came onto her season.
Sure was.
So you can come into this no money, no
your circumstances being what they are,
not knowing what a New York
turn
drag
it out.
Yeah,
it's being resourceful.
Yeah,
I think is really important.
And beyond that, you have to have a huge personality if you're gonna come in with that weak.
I feel like that makes
outfit.
up for a lot.
Yeah, Chi Chi's charisma is obviously what got her to top 4.
Easy. That's one of the reasons why I love Chi Chi.
Right. So I'm just. And it's not that I think even Calorie's like a bad person or a mean person or anything like that. She just did not come in with an amazing, like...
Do you think she was a little entitled?
What do you mean?
So, like, maybe she just assumed she was going to go farther because she's cute?
Or because she's, like, better
bigger
in her season.
And whatever.
Like
her you know
city.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she just expected...
to be better because...
To be recognized for those things instead of maybe pushing a little bit more.
Right. And the other thing is, if you're doing the club scene and you think that like what you're wearing in the nightclubs, because what she wore on the runway would be totally appropriate to see at a bar.
In that setting, yeah.
Yeah, and like even like a Drag Race girl, she needs to move around. I mean, I just think that she didn't quite get why
Not
she was...
Not fully realized. It was like Michelle said at one point, you know, some people just need to rev up, but it's like, are you gonna be given the time in order to do that?
Right. So let's talk, like, if we want to do a comparison to what I mean, like, Yuha didn't perform very well, but she clapped back. Clapping back might not be the smartest thing, but it's interesting. It shows you really want to fight to be here.
You have fire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, where Calorie gets her critiques and she just...
curls up into a ball.
Yeah, I feel like she didn't talk. Yeah, I feel like she wasn't much more than, like, the plus-size girl from, like, New Mexico.
And I thought that was an interesting, not read, per se, by Ross, but it was just like, what are you bringing to drag?
Right. And it doesn't even have to bring something new to drag.
No, but just, like, what is your thesis?
Yeah.
What is your purpose for doing this?
Are you a comedy queen? Are you, like, a dancing queen? Are you a singing queen? I just feel like we kind of really know who everyone else is at this point, and it's just, like, with her, it's like... What? However, I think once Calorie gets some money and gets it all together, it will be really great once she gets it.
More experience outside of her home state, maybe?
Well, I'm talking like when she gets to tour with the Drag Race Queens.
Right, that's basically what I'm
get some money. I think she would be a strong contender for an all-star season in the future.
I wouldn't be opposed to that at all.
I just think she'll pull like a Layla McQueen and be like, we didn't get it, but now we get it. You know?
Sure. That makes sense.
So Eureka leaves the room in a breakdown, and God bless Mayhem for following her.
Right.
Like,
I loved that.
Yeah,
that was so sweet.
And so Eureka tells us that she thought she wasn't going to do well with the dancing and thought she was going to nail the lyrics, but she just didn't either.
Didn't do anything. I loved that point where she's just like crying and she's like, they read me. Well, they didn't.
Oh,
I
have that quote word for word written down because I laughed I felt bad that I was laughing.
But it was so funny.
Yeah. So Eureka verbatim says, they just pretty much read me. I mean, not read me. I mean, they didn't really read me, but they read me. But she just like couldn't decide whether or not. She says they didn't read her 3 times and then says that they read her. It's like, girl, you got read, but not even like read for filth. It was kind of like okay, what happened? So Eureka says her mother would say, shut up and act right. And then Mayhem's like, well, then shut up and act right. And I was like, Mayhem, I get it. Mm-hmm. She gets it. And then everyone's crying. Calorie goes out and joins them smoking. And Mayhem's like, you guys aren't allowed to cry. I'm supposed to be the one that cries this much. We found out last week that's who I am.
I thought that was so sweet.
Yeah.
Just this whole entire time, I was like so happy and grateful for her.
So I think one downfall and evidence as to why maybe Calorie doesn't move on. In this whole thing, she says, Eureka says, I don't want to break your dream by like succeeding in mine. And Calorie says, my dream was being here. So if you say like just getting here was all you wanted, that tends to be a sign where you're going to not be there for very long. Because let's not forget, All Stars 3, Shangela was like, I've done what I've come here to do. So if I don't win, then that's fine because this is still my graduation day. So Calorie, she felt enough. She was...
But she's not Shangela.
I'm just saying,
you know,
just
like
she's not, no. But if you say you're validated for what has already happened, then
like
that's it.
Where else
then you're
do you have
done.
to go?
Yeah,
exactly. But anyway,
so Eureka tries to tell everyone how her critiques go once she goes back into the room, and then they all start talking over her. And I don't know if this is going to lead to a future narrative in the show.
Oh, that's a good point. That's
because she was like, they don't give a shit about what I have to say. They all started talking over me and talk about their own things. They say they care, but they really don't care. And I was like, ooh.
Yikes.
Are we going to have like a fiery Eureka who just starts taking bitches out? Because I could totally see that.
I mean, I wouldn't be angry at it either, so.
Then Aquaria just shouts, they said I look like Linda Evangelista! And I was just like, okay. And then they cut to commercial. Like,
they sure did. I was like, okay.
So
sure.
When they come back, Monique starts talking about
her mom.
Yeah, and being her most authentic self.
That just broke my heart.
So
that was rough.
How did they tonality go from what they did to that? Like, that's a lot for me.
It was a very jarring jump. And I don't need Untucked to necessarily be jam-packed with these moments either.
Right.
It feels better when it comes up naturally. So even when they were in the workroom last season and someone made the joke about body image stuff, and then Sasha was just like, haha, but don't joke about that. And then like it jumped
That was Eureka.
Right,
it was a mirror moment.
Yeah. Then they jumped into like the greater discussion and people got really personal.
Yeah.
That's fine. You know what I mean? Because that's happening organic in real time. I don't need... You know what I mean? And maybe, again, it's just like the editing. But like you said, it's just such a harsh jump into something that's like pretty deep.
Yeah, like I don't know how we got there. I like didn't... It was like we came back from commercial.
It was just like, and Monique was like, well, I mean, I'm saying...
And I was just like, what are we talking about? And then she started crying. When I first watched, I did not even... I was so jarred by, like, the change in emotion that I was like wait, I don't know what's happening. And then I watched it again, and it turns out there was no lead in. It just happens.
Exactly.
And I really feel for her. I guess what I caught from her talking is that her family's religious.
Yes.
Super religious, and she didn't talk to her mom for 4 years. And that's, like, a hard thing because everyone's coming out experience is so different. So it's like you can't really comment on someone else's.
No,
I just feel for her because,
right.
Fortunately for me, my experience was fine.
Right.
Yeah,
and I can relate in the way that I mean, with my biological parents, I never felt fully comfortable with them. So it was like always like this weird distance between us because I knew they didn't get my thing and they didn't accept me either.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is totally different in the larger sense because like what she's talking about is so huge. I mean, on top of being gay, she's black. A black person. Like it is so complicated and has so many layers to it. But just like if you were talking about overarching feelings, like I get it, like to an extent, like on my level. So that's so hard. That's such a bummer. And I could see being worried just because it feels like someone's pulling your pants down because she's gonna like see all these things. It's just like, oh fuck.
Well, I just think Monique needs to realize is that there's going to be such a support and love of her. One, for talking about this experience. So many people that aren't in her life yet or are coming into her life now. Right. Yeah. At first, I wasn't sure how I felt about Monique, but I'm like I like Monique a lot.
I've warmed up to her a lot.
I'm excited about her. And one of the fairy berries, like it was from her hometown. So that's always fun. That's I think cool. Carrie.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Whenever the season, like, they told us who was going to be in it, she was like, I'm Team Monique, because I know, like, I've already seen her.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then Monet is like, if anyone needs some sponge, I still have
I got you. I loved that. I died. They were like, you found that on the floor.
And she's like, yeah, but I'm using it. She's like,
blotting.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And then she goes up to Monique before they go back onto the stage, and she was like, you look like you could use
You look like you could use this.
Yeah. And she's like, well, so I did. And then Asia says to Monet, your team should have been in the bottom four for that stupid sponge dress she wore.
Anytime you get ahead of me, she basically was like, I'm going to tell them that you need to be in the bottom.
Yeah. So then Calorie, they cut back to the main stage. Calorie gets eliminated. And so when Calorie walks off, they make a big deal because she's like crying and goes and stands in the corner.
That was too much.
Yeah, the weird man's voiceover when there wasn't
and then
a
they
man
cut to commercial.
Be found. Yeah, because I was like, are we gonna have a more dramatic moment than her just crying?
I thought she was gonna faint or something.
Yeah, not that I want her.
No, obviously I don't either. But like
they were leading it up to be more dramatic.
It
than
like
it ended
almost
up being.
Cheapens the thing for her
Yeah,
because it is emotional and it is a big deal.
Yeah.
So let her have that moment. Don't feel the need to overproduce it or steer it some type of way. Just let it happen because it's fucked up and it sucks. You know.
Right. And it's like, how would you feel if something heartbreaking, like your dream was just crushed? You're walking off a stage, there's a camera in your face.
Exactly.
Like, that's a lot. And like, not only that, not only did the 12 other queens and the 5 judges that were there see you get eliminated, but then there's a whole cast and crew of God knows how many other people who witnessed it happen too.
And you have to pack your shit and leave.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you can give her moment because she needed it, but like,
just don't make it into
don't make it into a production value thing.
Yeah. My favorite part about that, though, is whenever she, like, comes back, they're like, Queen walking! And I'm like, guys, we can all see her. There's not that many of us here. Like, we know what's going on. Like, let's just let it go.
Right.
So I think that about wraps up the episode.
That is
there anything you would like to mention before we wrap things up here?
Nope.
Okay, so it's time to do the end of the podcast spiel. So if you like us, clearly, subscribe.
Find us.
Yeah, and we're on everything. It Bears Repeating Pod is normally what it is. If not, just search for us. We pop up. It's the whole thing. We have a website at bearsrepeatingpodcast.com. And if you want us to write to us, write a novel to us, let us know how you felt about anything, we have an email. It's itbearsrepeatingpod@gmail.com. And if you forget any of the things we just said to you, they're all linked in your description box below.
Wow.
And is that all the things I have to say?
I think that's everything.
I always forget one thing when I'm editing later. I'm like, oh, fuck. So that has been another episode of It Bears Repeating.
And it does.
My name's Tom.
And I'm Tiffany.
And we will see you next week.
We'll see you then. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
It bears repeating.